Ooh, that is so loud. Okay. I am so happy to see you all. Thank you so much for joining. I'm actually still in Mexico and I'm sick. So it's a good time for everybody. Um, I wanted to make sure we went over our start of the year for VPK Fast so you all have that information so that you are able to get started. I really appreciate you guys being here with me today. I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible so that you don't have to listen to my squeaky voice longer than you have to. And I'll be back next week. So um, this is our VPK Fast monthly webinar. This is our kickoff, our getting started with the new year. I am recording, so we'll send that out after. I did include the PowerPoint with the invite email yesterday so that you have it already. And then, of course, the recording will be available on our YouTube page. I just wanted to go over briefly, the requirements that we see for VPK Fast as far as the training requirements, the student enrollments, the actual Renaissance website, your progress monitoring schedule, any reports, and then the actual performance metric and designation information that'll be coming out later. It's not, if anybody's new, this will be new information for you, but most of this, if you've been doing VPK now for the past 2 years, this is the same information. So just to quickly go over everything. The Renaissance Educator Academy is the new website for your staff to take the required annual VPK FAST training. It is on this website that you'll find the training. It's vpkflorida.northpass, so you can copy that link. I've sent out the link a couple of times so that you have it. The only class that is required is VPK Fast Start Early Literacy Test Administrators. That class is available in English or Spanish. Once they finish that class, then they need to print out the two agreement documents and sign those. And then we need back from you. Espérame. We need, can you watch your mutes, please? Alba, I can hear you, and I can't find my mute button. Alba? So we need back from you the training certificate for the person who took the VPK Fast Start Early Literacy Test Administrators course, as well as the two signed Test Administrator Security Agreement and Test Administrator Prohibited Activities Agreements. We need those sent over either to your provider services specialist or uploaded into the document library and the provider portal. You'll see a folder called 2627 Fast Test Administrators. And in that folder, you can upload that for the staff that will be doing the actual assessments with the children. So any questions on that? Stay on top of everybody here. Okay. Okay. No questions. Everybody's good. Makes sense. There's other courses in the VPK Fast training website. They're good courses. There's two other courses. I'll show you them in a second. But that's the only one that's actually required is the test Start Early Literacy Test Administrators course. If you have new staff that don't have an account yet, they do need to set up an account on that website. They will need their first name, last name, and their DCF student ID number. And they do need to select Palm Beach County as their ELC locations. The course that when they complete the training, that training is good until June 30th of 2027. It won't automatically, it does go onto their training transcript, their DCF training transcript, if they put in their student ID number, but they won't get any in-service hours, even though the courses are required. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. This is what the page looks like. It's red this year. So when you have staff going in, it'll show as red. It did flip over in May to be the new courses. So the ones that they are required to take are these here, the one class that they're required to take is the VPK Fast Start Early Literacy Test Administrator course. These other two classes for planning, targeted instruction, and screening data and reporting are smaller classes, 30 minutes each. They are not required, but they are good classes to have. But that's what the website looks like. Once they've finished it, it will show that they've completed it. If they do need to go back in because they forgot to print out something, they can do that just by going to the catalog at the top. And then the courses that they completed will show, and they can click view and go into the class and be able to print out anything that's missing. Okay, any questions or issues? I can't see everything. So if you're putting it in the chat, I'm not sure that it's popping up for me. No, okay. All right, so when it comes to the STAR Early Literacy Assessment, the website remains the same. As a director, you have access to the website because you have a provider portal and account. So you may need to reset your password, but you will be able to get into the new website. And then the VPK staff will have an account set up with them. For them, I'm sorry. As an administrator, you're going to have to go in and get potentially their new access code, and they will have the same password, the lowercase VPK. None of the educators have emails associated with their access to Renaissance, so they can't do a forgot password option. So as an administrator, you have to go in and get their usernames so that they're able to log in on their own. If you're not able to get in, oops, sorry, I went too fast. If you're not able to get in, then please contact the provider services team so that we can review and update your account. It does take up to 48 hours for the system to get updated, so don't wait till the last minute. Appreciate you. Okay, any questions on that one? You should be able to go in now. I've been able to go in and see the accounts, so you should be able to go in now. If you haven't tried yet, it'll be available to you. As you go in as an administrator, to get your teacher usernames, you click your initials at the top, manage apps and users, and then you're going to your management tasks. So like I said, I've been able to go in. I see my 26-27 school year already, and you click on users. That will give you your students and personnel IDs. So that is available now. The system has switched over. You will not see any students until you actually put your VPK students in the provider portal and enroll them in your approved classrooms. So if you haven't done your VPK app or your contract and you think that you did, or you can't enroll your students, then you need to contact us. Enrollments have to be put in through the provider portal, and that can only happen once your contract and your application have been certified. So once you put in your enrollments, or to put in your enrollments, you go to the provider portal, enrollments, manage VPK enrollments, request change, and then enter this child's information based on the certificates that you have. And then within 24 to 48 hours, those students will be imported into the VPK Renaissance system for you to be able to begin your assessments. Okay. If you make any changes to your app during the year, you won't be able to enroll students. So if your app is in an incomplete status, it won't let you put students in. So if you run into that issue, you may need to go back into your app and resubmit if you've been thinking about making a change, so that then you can go in and do your enrollments. Any questions on that one? Guys are very quiet today.
Yeah, nothing in the chat either.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what I can and cannot see. Thank you, Claudia. Okay. I'm gonna keep going. When to get to the student name, the same thing, you click your initials, manage apps and users, and there under users would be your students. So you can search based on your school name, and your student password remains lowercase VPK.
We do have a question in the chat, Gina. It says,
Okay.
sorry, how can we get the link for VPK fast? I think you already said it, right? A couple of times.
Yeah, I have sent it out a couple of times. So they're looking for the Renaissance webpage or the training webpage.
Oh, she doesn't specify, Miss Praja, like which link do you need? Fast. Fast is the one.
So to take the actual assessments?
Training and class. Yeah.
Okay.
No, to training and class. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'll send it out again. It's part of the PowerPoint, but I'll send it out as a direct link so that you guys have it. Thank you, Claudia. Okay.
Always.
Just to briefly go over the assessment schedule for the year. Your first 30 instructional days is when your PM1 is due. So if you have a class that is more than 83 days long, you would need to finish your VPK PM1 within the first 30 instructional days. We will send out email reminders with all of the dates for PM1, 2, and 3 based on your calendar from your VPK app. But I just want you to know that, just a reminder of how that looks. We occasionally have someone who will do a shorter class, so it would be less than 82 days or less, and that does change the due dates for PM1 and 3. But that's not the norm. It's usually different. We let them know on the side. So you will get a system email reminder about the actual due dates for your progress monitoring. Okay. Any questions on that? Are we okay?
It looks like we're fine.
Thanks, Claudia. Okay. Running reports. So just a reminder that you are required to provide student performance results to the family within 7 calendar days of each of your PM administration using the star parent report. So you do have to give the family the star parent report within 7 days of the child finishing the assessment. It is best practice to keep copies for yourself, whether it be a digital copy that from the download or a copy of what the parent signed. Sometimes we do have parents that come back and want it for another period. This data in the system does get erased at the end of the year, so we don't have access to it either. So if you don't have a copy, then you can't supply that to anyone. So it is a best practice to keep a copy. You can also look at some of the other reports in the system. The Family Guide to Star Assessments is a good report, as well as the FAST Star Early Literacy Family Letter. That helps the parents understand a little bit better why you're doing FAST and what that means for their child. And of course, your TA and coaching specialists are available to help you with that in running those reports and looking at that data. So we do ask that all VPK students be accounted for within the progress monitoring window. So that's why we give you the opening date and the closing date so that you're able to test those students while the window is open. The first assessment that is completed is the one that will count for your assessment score. So you want the child to be able to do that. If you have children that are English language learning or maybe have an issue, we do ask that you give them time to complete a test up to 3 times for them to pass the practice test. If they're not able to pass the practice, then you can mark them as non-participating. And if you have students who have left your program, then we do ask that you end their enrollments in the provider portal so that they come off of your VPK FAST responsibility list of students that need to be assessed. That way we'll have a good count of all students that were assessed. Okay. New this year, and I didn't put it on the slide, but I will include it. The state is starting to look at the times and the dates the students are assessed. So if your VPK class runs from 8 to 11, then your students should be assessed during the time of VPK. So they are starting to look at instances where students are assessed in the afternoon, but VPK is only in the morning, or if they were assessed after your closing hours for some reason, or in the evening. So please make sure that VPK students are assessed during the opening window, during the time of VPK. And I'll be sure to include that. We do ask that you run the STAR test activity report. That report will tell you whether or not the student has completed the assessment or if they've been marked as non-participating. If there is no assessment showing for that student, then you'll know that they need to be done. If possible, we ask that you upload that report by the end of your progress monitoring into the provider portal in the 26-27 STAR test activity reports folder so that we have a copy of the confirmation that you're done. We do a lot of work to remind you of students that may be missing or in the windows of the opening of the assessment period. So we're trying to stay on top of it as much as we can, but anything you can do to let us know you're done is helpful also. Give me just 1 second. Okay, like I said, we're going to keep this one quick. All right. Performance metric. So this year, the performance metric designations should be released by the state by August 14th for your 25-26 school year. If you were a designation of below expectations or unsatisfactory, you will be considered a provider on probation and you'll need to complete an improvement plan, which does include using an approved curriculum with the training from the publisher, a staff development plan, and a communication strategy. Providers with a designation of incomplete will need to complete a technical assistance plan. We got through everyone's plans last year. I have no idea who's going to be a provider on probation this year yet. So we will let you know if that happens. The state will publish the performance metric on their website, which we will then work with you and let you know if you fall into those categories. And I will do a webinar at that time so that you have an idea of the deadlines and what needs to be submitted if you do fall into one of those. We do use WebAuthor, of course, and the coaches and TAs are available to support. If we have a time frame for everything for the performance metrics, so the plans would need to be in by September. So I don't think that we'll have a problem, but we will definitely work on that as it comes closer. It's right around the corner. If you needed a list of the approved curriculums for VPK for providers on probation, that's the list. I didn't go and look and see if it had been updated. Sometimes there's some additional ones, but this was the list from last year. And then this is just sort of a chart that the state put out as far as what the status would be for providers that are falling into the provider on probation. This was from last year as well. All right, that's it for me. Like I said, this was going to be short and sweet. Do I have anybody with any questions or issues?
All right. This will be the time to unmute or type
Yeah.
something in the chat, right?
Right. I will not hold you the whole hour. I do not have more to talk about, and you don't need to listen to this insanity that I have going on longer than you have to.
I wanted to find out, do the parent have to bring the VPK certificate or can I find it on the portal without the parent bringing it?
No, the parent has to bring you the VPK certificate because the parent has to sign it and you have to sign it and you have to keep a copy. And you need that information to
Okay.
enroll the child into your classroom.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good question. Yeah, VPK is different than school readiness. We give the VPK parents the certificates and then tell them, go and find your provider. And so they bring you their certificate, but it is your job to keep copies of that and sign off on them. Ooh, sorry. Any other questions or issues? I will stop recording.